Hello. For the past couple of days, I've been in this rabbit hole on YouTube, checking out videos by the Goth community. Because I want to see the other content creators and the stuff that they have to offer. A lot of these people I've been watching, most of them are decent human beings from what I'm picking up. And, they seem like people you wouldn't mind being friends with. So, while I disagree with some of their choices of music and all that, and style of dress, not that I'm against wearing black, I like wearing black myself, but not all the time. But, I have a more than one question to ask the Gothic community on YouTube, and I wonder if you guys can answer the questions I have down the comment sections below. So, without further ado, let's jump right into it. My first question is this. Can someone have a Gothic personality without identifying with the subculture? The only reason why this is my first question is because if you look at the artists, the painters, the musicians, singers, whoever, comedians, whoever's in the arts, essentially, who, may not have, identified as goth themselves, but they dealt with dark subject matter. For example, Woody Allen, one of my favorite comedians, has literally and still does continue talking about depression, death, and stuff like that all the time in his work. He literally did a movie called Love and Death. He did a movie called Sleeper where someone is frozen from being, cryogenically frozen from 1973 and brought back in, I think the 22nd century, something like that. But that being said, there's Woody Allen that deals with the topic of death and all that, but you also have, people like Frank Sinatra who have sung songs about, maybe being depressed or literally the end of life. For example, the Sinatra song My Way is literally about a man singing or talking about his life while he's on his deathbed. I mean, forget that the instrumentals in the song are very uplifting, but think about the lyrics. And now the end is near, and so I face the final curtain. My friend, I'll say it clear. I'll state my case of which I'm certain. I lived a life that's full. I traveled each and every byway. And more, much more than this, I did it my way. Those are pretty dark lyrics, if you really think about it. And Paul Anka wrote that. He took the French song and made something with the instrumentals that we all mostly around the world know as My Way by Frank Sinatra. Well, Paul Anka wrote it, but he sung it. But yet, those are dark lyrics. Those aren't, uplifting lyrics. If someone, would talk to you like that, you would be kind of melancholy if someone was talking to you about that, and they'd most likely be on their deathbed, right? Now, the other thing is, brings this question up, is because Frank Sinatra did another song, not about death, but about loss of love, in the song, One for My Baby, One More for the Road. And the music pretty much sets the tone of the song. For example, it's 2:45, there's no one in the place except you and me. So set 'em up, Joe. I have a little story you ought to know. We're drinking, my friend, till the end of a brief episode, so make it one for my baby and one more for the road. This guy's drinking by himself. He's literally sharing a drink with himself, and it's called loneliness. Once again, it's a very, very depressing song. And it's not, uplifting in any means. If someone was telling you this, minus the music, you would feel melancholy as well. So, And those are just two examples out of many. But still, though, could someone have a Gothic personality without identifying with the subculture? Okay, second question I have. And this is for people that are in the subculture. If someone comes out as goth and they identify with the subculture, is there a way that they could still dress, let's say, in bright colors and still be in the subculture without dressing in all in black all the time and, without maybe dyeing their hair? Let's say they keep their natural hair color because, let's say, if they're a redhead by nature, and red hair is hard to dye by itself. But let's say if they're a redhead by nature, and let's say they come out as goth, and they identify with the subculture, and they don't dress in black all the time, or if they do, that's on rare occasions. Let's say they're going to a goth convention or something like that. I'm not sure if those things even exist. But let's say hypothetically they do, and that's the only time they dress in black, but other than that, they wear colorful clothing all the time. Would that person still be considered part of the subculture because they don't dress in typical goth style? Okay, third question I have is, can someone be in the subculture or identify with a Gothic personality if they don't listen to the recommended music? Like, for example, let's say someone who's in the subculture of goth is a huge John Denver fan, or they're a huge fan of, let's say, Led Zeppelin. Could they still be a part of that subculture without listening to the recommended music? Because everyone's music taste is subjective, including Edgar Allan Poe, who is, I don't think he was gothic, really, but he did deal with depression and family matters and all that were very dark. This is true. But Edgar Allan Poe's been pretty much adopted by the Gothic subculture as, the icon of goth culture. And yet, what got Edgar Allan Poe to reveal his darkest secrets was music by Johann Sebastian Bach. Which, he is pretty dark music, that composer. But he has pretty bright music, too. But it was the bright music that got Edgar Allan Poe in touch with his dark side. So, could someone who doesn't listen to the recommended music be considered goth, part of the subculture? Or even have that Gothic personality, which was part of my first question. And my final question is this. Well, it's true that, a lot of people who identify with the goth subculture aren't devil worshippers. They're not atheists. And, there's some people who believe in Wicca. There's some people who are Buddhists. There's some people who are Christian, Jewish, Muslim, whatever, who are part of the Gothic subculture. But what's your response to those who say they're part of the subculture, who promote, things like devil worship and sacrifices of animals and all that? What's your response to that? Because I know from the videos I've seen, the responses are pretty much, we don't condone that, we're against that, they don't represent us. So, this question is not really for them, but for the people that, don't really analyze the subculture, this question is really for you. What's your response to the people who claim they're part of the goth subculture that promote sacrificing animals and all that, and promote devil worship and all that? I'm just curious about your responses. Anyway, if you guys can answer these questions, that would be helpful. I'm just curious. As they say, curiosity kills the cat. Anyway, see you guys next time.